Hello my friends, a short video, an interesting subject, and the title would be Every Saint Has a Past, Every Sinner Has a Future. Can I run that by you again? Every saint has a past and every sinner has a future. It's so easy, isn't it, to condemn one if they don't meet one's standards. And I can only share with you personal experiences. And I know that for most of my life, I allowed my past, I allowed my fear, my sadness, and that unhealthy upbringing of exposure to a God of fear to basically ruin my life. And yes, I was a nursing monk in a Catholic order, and yes, I was fed on a diet of fear, but one thing I did love was the support of the young novices and postulants and the young scholastic monks who were recently ordained, and I often reflect on where are they now. But I can't say that for those who were senior to us, because they ruled with an iron rod. But again, when I look back with maturity, I realize that most of these men were unhappy, deeply, deeply unhappy, and full of guilt and fear. But today, as an independent Catholic Christian Franciscan monk, I don't do the fear, I don't do the dogma, I do simplicity. My God is all around me, not in a building. My God is in nature. My God is forgiving. My God is loving. And my God created all beliefs and none. Well, certainly he created the people to embrace their own belief. And I don't think belief is that important. What is important is the heart. To surrender the heart and to allow the healing rays of divine love catapult us into a place of worthiness, of joy and peace. I know from my own experience in the monastery of many nuns and monks taking their own life, many leaving holy orders without being laicized because they couldn't cope with the guilt that was inferred upon them, whether it was because of their sexual orientation, where they were trying to come to terms with the fact that they were gay or lesbian, and they couldn't cope with the church's unhealthy, unchristian attitude. And in despair, many would take their own life. So, every saint has a past, but in my own belief, every sinner has a future. Let me read this to you. I was shocked, confused, bewildered as I entered heaven's door, not by the beauty of it all, nor the lights on its door. But it was the folks in heaven who made me sputter and gasp, the thieves, the liars, the sinners, the alcoholics, and the trash. There stood the kid from 7th grade who swiped my lunch money twice. Next to him was my old neighbour who never said anything nice. Bob, who I always thought was rotten away in hell, was sitting pretty on cloud 9, looking incredibly well. I nudged Jesus, "What's the deal? I would love to hear your take. How'd all these sinners get up here? God must have made a mistake. And why is everyone so quiet, so somber? Give me a clue." "Hush, child," he said, "they're all in shock. No one thought they'd be seeing you. Judge not. And remember, just going to church doesn't make you a Christian any more than standing in your garage makes you a car." So here we have a wonderful analogy, a wonderful example of the compassion of Jesus. But then I would like to share with you another reflection. I will not live an unlived life. I will not live in fear of falling or catching fire. I choose to inhabit my days, to allow my living to open me, to make me less afraid, more accessible, to loosen my heart until it becomes a wing, a torch, a promise. I choose to risk my significance to live. So that which comes to me as seed goes to the nest as blossom, and that which comes to me as blossom goes on as fruit. Take heart, my friends, because I truly do believe that Jesus, the barefoot Galilean, came not to save the righteous, but to save the likes of you and me, to offer us an olive branch and say, hey, cool it, live your life, live it to the full, and remember, the gift of life was freely given. And yes, my back has been to the wall many times, and in despair, there were times when I felt that my God abandoned me because I struggled so much to come to terms with rejection from my own family, rejection from my church, rejection from so many well-meaning pious souls because I didn't meet their criteria. Like next door in our little chapel where I was banned because in their eyes I wasn't a Christian. Oh, and yes, I was angry, but that was my ego. But then in prayer Jesus said, Sean, wipe the dust from your feet and depart with a blessing, and now move on. And it's like this with the Teo Vision, the field of dreams, where we're trying to give our all to working with Mother Earth, with the divine, to provide that place for God, where we can unite brothers and sisters to come from different traditions and sing the canticles of Francis without getting embroiled in dogma and historical woundedness. You know, the times when I was at my lowest, I often thought of the wonderful poem Footprints in the Sand. And yes, it's true. In my arrogance or in my naivety, I honestly thought they were my footprints. And then I was made aware that they were the footprints of Jesus, the barefoot Galilean. And that filled me with joy. And when I look back on those wasted years, well, were they wasted? I think they were a learning curve. And dealing each day and managing bipolar and depression, you know, that really is a challenge. But you know, rather than fight it, I embrace the dynamics of it. And with God's help, it becomes a prayer. It actually becomes a powerful prayer, because in accepting and blessing what we're given, releases a positive energy, and it's saying to God, why not me? Why shouldn't I have my lot? Take heart, dear friend. Never ever believe that because of your choice, whether it's your illness or whether it's to do with the fact that you may be an alcoholic, a drug addict, a lesbian, a gay, a divorcee, it does not matter. The righteous will tell you it's wrong. But before God, He is the judge, and God sees the heart. Man cannot see your heart, but God can. And in that poem, when Jesus said, I nudged Jesus, what's the deal? I would love to hear your take. How'd all these sinners get up here? God must make a mistake. And why is everyone so quiet, so somber? Give me a clue. Hush, child, he said. They're all in shock. No one thought they'd be seeing you. Peace. God bless.